watching Morning at NTV.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Good morning. Welcome to Morning at NTV. My name is Malaki Vilodera. It is the 23rd, so the month is coming to an end. This is a Kickstarter segment. Remember, we are on the hashtag Morning at NTV. That's across all social media platforms. And today on Kickstarter, we still keep it politics. And so today we're going to speak about what we all saw. And this is a directive that the President, His Excellency, the President of Uganda, Mr. Museveni, actually issued, saying that there will be no police bond, no bail for robbers. And so that is what we're going to discuss today. And so to break that down and just to help us understand the intrigues of this particular development is Mr. Muhammad Ndifuna. He is the Executive Director of the Human Rights Network. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, viewers.
Good morning. Now, let's start with refreshing our viewers' mind with regards to the directive that the President actually gave with regards to this particular development. Let's take a look.
This operation now will be army-led. It will be led by the army. I have ordered an army-led operation. According to our law, when the army is in leadership, even the ones who are not soldiers are treated as if they are soldiers. If you don't guard the gun, we shall put you under court-martial. Therefore, those security guards who have been relaxed, the thieves come and grab him and they take the gun, that will stop. But we need to, because we cannot have soldiers everywhere. We need the security guards as local, for us we call them OPs, observation posts. Now, there are some security guards and some police people who have been colluding with the thieves. Well, these ones will be found out and there should be a link between the industrial park and the nearest police station. In fact, between each factory and the police station. Now, if the factory is alone, not part of the industrial park, we are going to have a squad of soldiers there, staying there. Meanwhile, of course, the police are hunting using other means these criminals to not only to react but also to detect and uproot. The only thing I would want to, as we are still putting the cameras in place on the highways and in the towns, since these people seem to be targeting foreigners and some groups, I would advise against too much movement in outside the factory areas. If we could, the issue of police bond. Police will not give a thief, either a robber or a thief of money.
Police will not give a thief or a robber police bond or bail. What happened to the policy that says innocent until proven guilty, Doctor?
That is the bone of contention, because it's a constitutional matter. A Ugandan is presumed innocent until proved guilty in situations where he is being accused of a crime. And basically, it is a safeguard against possible abuse. You can be alleged to have committed an offense that you have not. And therefore, due process helps to sort out facts from fiction, because in any case, we've seen situations in this region of the world where persons have been accused of crimes they have not committed for political reasons.
Right.
It could be rape, it could be treason, but those sometimes even fail to stand in courts of law. So in the absence of such safeguards, the due process and ultimate rights of the person that is accused will be violated. So it's important that these safeguards are protected. We know for sure that this debate is not entirely new. It has been on and off at different times. Even there was a time when there was need to keep somebody in custody for 3 months. I know people who are very much in the front line for this, but then they have had to use lawyers to get them quickly the moment they were arrested. So it's okay to think like that until it catches up with you, because you see, policymakers sometimes actually look at the other side of the fence. It's always the other person, but it can be you as well. And would you want to be subject to such a situation where actually you are now being presumed to be guilty before you are proven? What will be the essence of the court? In any case, yeah.
What will be the essence of the court?
Yes.
So, in other words, you're saying that that particular directive is actually undermining the justice process.
It does, yes. Yeah, it does. And that's why we think that these safeguards should remain. It should not appear as if bail is automatic, that you see the moment you appear in a court and ask for it, it is given. There are certain conditions that have been laid out in law, and in any case the court and the judge or the magistrate is given discretionary powers to determine on the test of reasonableness that actually you satisfy the court, that you not undermine due process, you not undermine justice, and that you'll be able to come back and follow through with the case. So it's not automatic.
Okay. And today I want you to teach us today and just to enlighten us. So I have been, quote unquote, accused of robbery or being a thief. What's the due process? What's the process like? I've been taken maybe to a police station. What next? The steps to the time I'm presented in court.
You see, first of all, the nature of the case that you're being accused will determine whether your case will be heard in one court or another. For example, it could be a magistrate's court, it could be the High Court. Now, if you look at the Magistrates Court Act, it excludes certain cases from being heard and considered in the Magistrates Court. So ultimately, if you have a case of a serious nature, it will appear in the High Court. You may appear before the Magistrates Court, but ultimately your case will be heard in the High Court. For example, it could be treason, it could be armed robbery, it could be rape, it could be defilement. Such cases definitely will appear there. And if, for example, you've been in custody for over, say, 60 days, you are entitled to bail if you apply for it in courts of law, and the judge or magistrate will determine whether you merit and you have satisfied the court that actually you will not undermine a due process, and you will appear before the court. So, for me, the issue here is, are the courts exercising their discretion properly? That is where the debate should be, because the bail is not automatic.
It shouldn't be automatic.
It should not be automatic.
But it seemingly is automatic, because like you're saying, you have to be under custody for around 60 days. But most of the people actually get, they're granted bond.
That's where the debate should be, and not a removal of the right to bail for certain categories. Because we know that actually you can be accused wrongfully. And we have seen situations where actually the state is very much involved in this kind of data games. It can create a situation where you are being accused of a crime that you did not commit. So, and it could be a serious case, a serious crime that you are being accused of, and you can imagine what will happen, because that means that you will not be granted your right to bail, and due process will be undermined.
All right, and let's now get to the things that the judges actually look out for before they actually grant someone bail or bond. What are those things they look out for?
Well, depending on where it is being heard. But for example, if it is in the High Court, what will happen is that one, you may have to you might have to prove that you made it from the point of view of sickness, that you are not in good state of health, that there is no objection from the DPP, for example, that probably you are of advanced age or an infant, Okay. But additionally, you should be able to produce sureties. You should be able to prove that actually you have a competent place of abode. You are not a vagabond.
Right.
you stay somewhere, and you are able to turn up for continuation of the case. So it's not like you can just be granted bail without consideration of these matters. Now, whether these documents are being faked is a different matter, and that's where the debate should be. I mean, it's not like there are no solutions to these other problems, because you don't remove away a right simply because it is capable of being abused. You simply plug the loopholes that are capable of being exploited. And I think that's where we should be focusing our attention, rather than removing.
After this particular kind of directive from the president, there was quite a number of feedback that we're getting from different factions of Ugandans. Let's take a look at this.
That he's not going to accept bail. He's not going to accept bond. First of all, it is a constitutional right. The Constitution of Uganda allows people, presumes people to be innocent until proved guilty. When you say you are not going to allow bail because these are guilty people, it's as if you are confirming they are guilty even before the courts have declared they are guilty. We would urge the president.
Okay, I think they're saying what you're saying. They're actually just reiterating what you're saying. But don't you feel the president came at a point whereby he knows that the justice process actually takes forever, if not long, and such crimes, especially when it comes to robbery, murders, these are things that need to be nipped at the bud immediately. Don't you think he's justified, especially with regards to checking, the issue of insecurity in the country? Of course, this coming from a point whereby now our investors were being attacked.
Yes, and it's for that reason that I said that the right to bail is not automatic. Yes, they look into the nature of the case, the record of the person that has been produced before the court, and among other considerations that I've already mentioned. So it's not like it's automatic. So what are we trying to cure? Because what are we trying to cure anyway?
Let me ask you a question. Of course, when this particular directive came on board, we saw this on social media. Some people are saying maybe the president even knows the issues that are there in the judicial process. For example, corruption. Like you're saying, bond and bail should not be automatic. There are conditions, preconditions by the time you're actually granted this. But you're not seeing that happen many a times. If they're corrupt,
for me, I think
people that take something small and they release you.
I think we are on a slippery slope here.
Okay.
And the moment, it's like the case of the Arab, the tent and the camel. Just the nose, and then the bank, and then the back, and all. Before you know it, we will not have rights at all. We are increasingly descending into a police state. You can see what is happening. So giving away presumption of innocence is actually making a very serious erosion of safeguard against fundamental rights and freedoms of Ugandans in this country. We may do it out of goodwill, but the repercussions will be very serious. Very serious. I know that the president historically has not been a fan of presumption of innocence. He has been on record harping on the need to turn to the Romanic tradition of guilt before. But in this case, we consider presumption of innocence as a serious safeguard in situations where actually we have weak rule of law. So where you have weak rule of law structures, and the state itself is in many cases guilty of serious violations, making an erosion on the powers of the judiciary, because actually this is what we will be doing. It's like, okay, probably the judiciary is not using the discretion provisions in good faith and competently, and therefore we take it away. Where does it go? It goes to the executive, because basically that's what we'll do. If we take away from the judiciary, we give to the executive. And we are in a situation where already the executive has been involved in many violations. You are very much familiar with the cases of torture committed by statutory agencies. Statutory agencies are an extension of the executive. So really, my plea and desire is a situation where actually we don't remove away these safeguards. Actually, we expand the frontiers of rights. What we need to do is to invest in our security capacity, but also enhance the capacity of the judiciary to execute its work. For example, if we were able to improve the capacity of the police, especially in the area of forensic investigation and so on and so forth, I think many of the cases that are collapsing in courts of law would not. Right. Yeah.
Right. So the guns need to be focused at a totally different area.
This is what I'm proposing. That and that's why I posed, what are we trying to cure? Because you see, you can tie a bandage on a cancer and purport to be curing it, and this is exactly what we are doing. And the question is, are we doing it knowing what we are doing, or are we doing it out of panic, or are we doing it out of self-interest, self-serving interest?
Okay, you actually said that this actually is a slippery slope that we're taking, and that there are dire consequences, especially when you don't take the issue of human rights seriously and respect that. What are these consequences? Maybe something that we're not seeing. Just enlighten us today. Like you said, dire consequences. What are some of those things that you're likely to see that you maybe didn't think we would get to?
I mean, political opposition, for example, could be accused, or many members of this political opposition could be alleged to have committed serious crimes for which right to bail is a no-go area. What happens? We've seen this happen in this country, where actually a leader of a political opposition is accused of rape.
Right.
What became of that? We've seen situations where actually political leaders have been accused of serious crimes, including actually having guns. A case of Arua is very evident. Right. So, I mean, this can happen where you trust the state, and there are very serious safeguards apart from the presumption of innocence. But we are a weak state.
Wow.
We are a weak state.
And I'm happy that you've even given us solutions on how best this can be tackled. Like the guns need to be focused on a totally different area, and this is strengthening the systems, the justice systems. Thank you so much for coming in studios. Mr. Muhammad Ndefuna, Executive Director of the Human Rights Network. Keep your views coming. What are your thoughts on this? The hashtag is Morning at NTV across all the social media platforms. Morning at NTV still continues. Up next is Andrew Chamagero with Reality on the Ground. Keep it here.
You're watching Morning at NTV.